I'm Michelle, and we're going to talk about how I and you can use mindfulness, compassion, and connection to find your inner calm and a little more sanity in your parenting. Hi, I'm Michelle, and I help parents who want to parent peacefully and foster strong relationships with their children, and at times find it really hard. When my kids were small, I found myself so overwhelmed and burnt out. Not only did I struggle with responding peacefully, playfully, or calmly, I got caught in an awful yelling pattern, followed by overwhelming shame because yelling was the last thing I wanted to do. Before we get into today's show, today is the final day to register for the next Yelling to Connecting group. Here's what parents are saying about the group. This parenting course gave me so many helpful insights. Being in a group made such a difference. It helped me feel less alone and really normalized some of the struggles I've been facing. Grateful for the support and everything I learned. Another parent said, this program changed the way I show up as a mom and as a parent. It's not just about yelling less. It's about creating lasting, loving bonds with my children. I now understand why it's so important for self-care, as not only does it benefit myself, but so it does from the whole family. I feel stronger, more grounded, and more hopeful about the kind of mom I can be. If you are wanting to find support and community in your parenting, find the link in the show notes to sign up for the next Yelling to Connecting course. So now let's talk about how I and you can use the science of mindfulness, self-compassion to find your inner calm and a little more sanity in your parenting. Today's topic, why am I so irritable today? So I love this topic because we can all be irritable as parents, right? And it's kind of, I've found it very helpful to think about my kids when they get stuck in rigidity, that is a good indicator that their emotional backpack's full, that they're struggling with something. And so it is with us, right? When we catch ourselves being irritable, oh, it's a good indication. Maybe I'm stressed. Maybe I'm overwhelmed. Maybe I'm struggling with some fears. And I've noticed, as much as I would like to say, one, am always regulated, no. Two, always know why I'm upset when I'm upset, no. The reality is, I'm like, whoa, it's crazy that I didn't realize that I was struggling with something, that I didn't realize it until I was really irritable, and that, it sometimes takes a while to figure it out. So if you're in that same boat, just know you're not alone. I feel like I've, worked really hard at this whole mindfulness thing, and it's still really hard. So it's just normal. I think it's just normal human nature. We're not always going to know. I think some of the easier ones are if we're tired. Like, to me, that one is probably the most obvious, right? I didn't get enough sleep. Maybe I haven't gotten enough sleep for a week. Pretty obvious. I am really irritable and I know exactly why. But then there's all these other things that can be happening in our life that it's like much less obvious, right? The things that are the most interesting to me is when I kind of know something's bothering me, but it's sort of like on the back burner. Like, it's not something I have to deal with every day or right in front of me. And so I know it's bothering me, but I don't really give it that much weight until I'm really irritable. And then I have to be curious about what is that about. So, like, for example, if you have a family stressor, like a family of origin stressor, a parent stressor. Some of us are in that sandwich generation, where we're caring for kids and we're also caring for our parents. And that's very stressful. If someone in our life is sick, it could be sort of like maybe we got a bad review at work, or maybe there's a upcoming thing, but it's a month away. Like, we know it's stressful, we know it's bothering us, but it's not right in our face, right? Until we find ourselves being irritable. So, I want you, some other ones could be that maybe we are have some fears related to our kiddos, right? So, fears related to, are they going to do okay in school? How are they going to handle XYZ in school? Are their social, relationships okay? Last year this happened. Are they going to be okay with their teachers? Are their teachers going to be helpful this year? There's so many different things that we can worry about reasonably. So, as parents, there's so many things. And oftentimes, those fears and worries, especially as something's coming closer, right? Like I used to worry in March about summer childcare because it's a big deal to figure out summer childcare. And it was so stressful. As my kids have gotten older, it's less stressful, but so stressful. If I had a babysitter that I had to fire, if I had to hire a new babysitter, um, the start of the school year, even if like those things are far away, those are all stressors that kind of can be in the background, but can tick up our irritability. And it's not always clear, right? If it's not right in our face, why is it causing me irritability today? And one thing that can be helpful is to just ask ourselves that question. I find it really helpful to journal. So you might write out, why am I irritable today? And then start listing off all the things that you can think of that are causing you some stress, even if they don't seem like the most obvious. And then you could ask yourself the question, why is this causing me to be irritable today? Like if it's not happening for a long time, is there something in this, near in the present that's kind of like ticking that up? And sometimes it's just that a little stressor that normally wouldn't cause us to be so irritable. Now there's a little stressor plus that stress on the back burner. So it ticks up our irritability. And I like to think of our irritability as like the canary in the coal mine. It's helpful information if we are able to think about it with curiosity and lean in. Then we can be curious without judgment. If we judge ourselves like this happened a long time ago. Why am I still upset about this? This isn't happening for a long time in the future. I shouldn't be so worried. I shouldn't be so stressed. I should be able to get over this. Other people get over this. Other people handle this. Other people are dealing with the same stress. Ooh, a big one is other people have it a lot worse than I do. All of these kind of internal statements are judgments of our emotions. We can't really control our stress. We can't control our stressors. We can't control what ticks up our irritability, but we can notice that we're irritable. We can be curious about why we're irritable. We can be curious with compassion and understanding. Similar to if a friend told us that, maybe that they're really stressed because their parent is sick and they're worried they might have to put them in a nursing home. Well, yeah, that's pretty darn stressful. We probably wouldn't say, gosh, you're really being ridiculous, like it's going to be fine either way. No, we'd probably respond with a lot of understanding and compassion, like that sounds really hard. That sounds really stressful. Of course, you are overwhelmed. And I just want you to think about maybe one of those stressors, right? See if you can name one in your head. Yep, I'm kind of stressed about this. Yep, that's kind of why I was irritable the other day. And then I want you to listen to me responding to you as if I was your friend and see if you can take it in. Wow, that sounds really hard. I'm sorry that you're having to go through that. I wish that you weren't having to go through that. It is so understandable that you're stressed out. And it's so understandable that you were more irritable with your kids. I can see that that is painful and upsetting for you. So I'm wondering, as you were listening to me, were you able to take any of that in? It's really, really hard, actually, for a lot of us, right? I mean, so often we kind of say, well, we kind of want to like say, well, but yeah, but I don't have it as bad. Those same judgments, they just come right back up to the surface. And that's so understandable. And it's just helpful to notice, oh, wow, I do kind of judge myself when I get irritable. I do judge myself about how I handle my stress. And then, of course, you know what I'm going to say, right? You know what I'm going to say. I'm going to say compassion. This is the antidote. This is how we can be curious, like a friend or a therapist would be with us, right? We curiosity without judgment. And so I'm going to give you the RAIN practice that I learned from Tara Brock, RAIN. R is recognize. This is stress. This is the experience of stress in my body. This is what stress feels like. And you might even notice, like, yep, my shoulders are tight. They're in my ears. My jaw's tight. I have knots in my stomach. This is the experience of stress. R, recognize. I can't remember who says it, but name it to tame it. When you name it, you are stepping out and becoming an observer of what's happening with you. So you're a little bit less swept away by it. It's like you've just stepped out of the stream and now you're watching the stream. A, allow. Can I allow this experience to be here? Can I allow this stress to be here? Without judgment. So again, we might instead want to judge ourselves, or we might want to just like forget it. Like I shouldn't even be thinking about this. Push it away, shove it away, right? So natural. We don't want to feel bad. Of course, we're going to try to not think about it. And it's helpful to be able to make a little bit of space where we can. I love what Jeff Warren, meditation teacher, says. Welcome to the party. Welcome to the party, stress. Here, come have a seat. Here's a warm drink and a blanket. There's space for you here. Welcome to the party, stress. It's just sort of like a lighthearted way of allowing that emotion to be there. I switched up the I to make it interconnected. This is from Kristen Neff's idea of, reminding ourselves that we're not alone, that it's a normal human experience to experience stress. Of course, as parents, we're stressed. Of course, we're stressed about what's happening in our lives. Of course, at some points, we get irritable. We're none of us, including myself, far from perfect. We cannot be perfect. Stress is a normal part of the human experience. So the I is interconnected. I am not alone. There are probably many other parents that just got irritable, snapped at their kids, are feeling kind of like not great about it in the right at the moment. I am not alone. I'm really and truly not alone. And the N is need. What do I need when I'm experiencing this stress? I love to think about how can I take it a little bit easier on myself today? Like I hate cooking. So is it going to be a peanut butter and jelly night, a cereal night? Is it going to be a frozen fish sticks? Okay, we don't really actually have frozen fish sticks. That sounds terrible. Frozen chicken nuggets. Is it going to be takeout? Like, what? How can I make my life easier? I know now that I'm stressed. It just is. Okay, how can I make my life a little bit easier? Maybe we turn on the TV and watch a show while we eat dinner, which is a big deal at my house because we don't do that. And so my kids love it whenever we have a movie night or a show while the through dinner night. Or maybe I just need to take a walk, Maybe I just need to get outside and take a walk, text a friend. What do I need? That might just give me a little bit of support or take a little bit of the edge off of this stress that I'm feeling. And finally, I'm want to offer you a play idea because play is such a helpful way to connect with our kiddos in our parenting. And when we're stressed, oh, play is probably the last thing we want to do, right? It's the last thing we want to do. So my play idea is dancing. You don't have to be a good dancer. I am not a good dancer. Actually, that's even better because it makes your kids laugh. It might even make you laugh. So turn on your favorite music. You don't have to listen to, I can't really think of any kid music at the moment, but whatever kid music that you might be really sick of hearing, turn on the music you love, play it in the living room, and move your body. You don't have to dance. Maybe you can just wiggle around, be silly. And that is a fun play idea because your kids can be part of it. They might make fun of you, especially if you have older kids. Your little kids will just dance crazy with you and they'll love it. So, either way, it's a win. And it's a win for you too, because moving our body is a way of offloading our stress. So, that is my play idea for you today. And before you go, I have a free gift for you, the guided audio pause and regroup. It is for when you are about to lose it or have just lost it with your kiddos and you need a moment to regroup. See, here's how it works. You catch yourself mid-yell or right before you yell. You pause, you remove yourself, you put your earbuds in, and you listen to me walk you through some steps to offload some of that energy that kind of makes you feel like a combustible engine without hurting anybody. And then shifting your mind, your thoughts, and then regrouping so you can rejoin your family. I would love for you to download this because I really want to hear how it goes. I want to hear what works, what doesn't. What can I add to this? What can I, like, how can I make this more accessible and something that's really helpful to you? A reminder, this content is intended for educational purposes only and should not be used as a replacement for private psychotherapy services. Compassionate Heart Mindful Life does not provide psychotherapy services in any capacity. I am a therapist, but I'm not your therapist. And this is not therapy and should not be a substitute for mental health treatment. If you need mental health treatment, please find a qualified professional in your area. Thanks again for listening. Be well.